All right, greetings, educators. We're on part 4 of 4. This is the unit 8 and 9 combined chapter. This is the fourth part of the lecture. And we're going to talk about sociological perspective. So I've got everything settled up here and close to me, and I'll get started. Okay, so sociology uses 3 perspectives to address the functioning and performance of educational institutions. These perspectives include the functionalist perspective, the conflict perspective, and symbolic interactionalist perspective. The functionalist perspective analyzes the roles of school systems. The functionalist perspective analyzes the role of the school system in maintaining an orderly and efficient society. If all institutions work well together, then society works well, right? Okay, in the conflict perspective, of which some of critical pedagogy has bubbled up out of, it contends that power relationships and conflicting interests influence educational policy and perspectives, and schools are considered places where power groups compete for advantage. All right, and some of those power groups could be politicians using education as a platform for gaining way into office or keeping office. We see testing, standardized testing companies. We see textbook companies, publishing companies. Oh my gosh, for-profit schools, and on and on. And those are all power groups that are competing for an advantage into the school systems and educational units. Okay, so this conflict perspective today provides an important lens through which we can view educational reform movements and the proposals for change and the people who are proposing the change. Okay, so keep that in mind about conflict perspective. Okay, so the last one is the symbolic interactionalist perspective. They view school life at the micro level, and they're looking at what actually takes place in the classroom, the activities that shape the students' future. The symbolic interactionalists are interested in the culture of the classroom. So this one's a little easier for me to understand. But I want to read you something straight out of your book. It's on page 255. It's the first bullet on that page. It says the sociological perspectives are useful in providing insight to educational issues. This insight can be useful when identifying possible solutions. 2 issues where sociological research provides insight are the teacher shortage and school violence. A sociological analysis illustrates the solutions to these issues will require collaboration between the institutions of society and even changes in societal values and attitudes. So, if you're having a hard time understanding what these perspectives are used for, they're used to analyze education and also your job, okay, and how you function in your job. All right, so I'm going to summarize part 3 of the 4-part series in with part 4, and here's that summarization. Okay, so linking education to the social, economic, and political development of a nation creates many tensions between schools and other institutions and groups in society. I talked to you in part 3 about the tensions between generations, and so remember that, okay? Sociologists use 3 modes of analysis to view educational issues. The functionalist and conflict perspectives view school at the macro level, okay, bigger. They look at it from a bigger perspective. The interactionalist perspective views schools at the micro level by looking at the interactions between teachers and students and how these interactions shape individuals' views of themselves and the role of society. Alrighty? Because schools are expected to achieve a wide variety of goals, it can be expected that some segments of society will find the accomplishments of schools lacking. Okay? A Nation at Risk ignited a debate about failure of public education that still influences policy decisions. I talked about the nation at risk in the chapter 8 portion of this lecture. I think it was in part 2. Okay, so other researchers have disputed the claims and indicated that the crisis that the nation at risk reported, it's indicated that this crisis in education is manufactured. It's designed to further the social and political agendas of certain groups. This view is an important one if you think about who benefits from the billions of dollars that go into the nation's educational system. Think about textbook companies and the publishing industry and the standardized testing industry, the privatization of schools, and how they've become a profit venture, and even teacher education programs that many colleges make a lot of money off of, including NMSU. Okay, so that is this unit in a nutshell. We've got a historical perspective, and now we've got a sociological perspective to apply to that. Okay, so the questions that I'm asking you in this in the assignments and in the discussion are tough. I want you to apply what you've learned from all the videos, all the lectures, and your book to be able to answer those. It's very important that you can apply the content of this chapter in a way that you to critically think about education. Okay, so I hope that came out right. You need to be able to use all this information to critically apply it to education and to be able to critically think and analyze education. I'm going to be very tough and very strict on how you answer these questions, because this is an important part of the semester, and it's going to take you to the next level of understanding about education and how it relates in our society. Okay? All right, educators. It's been a long night for me. I'm going to hit the sack. This unit is long. I suggest that you take notes and attack it in chunks, okay? Don't do it all in one sitting, because you're not going to get the full effect of it, okay? So good luck. Good night. I'm going to see you in chapter 10, and that will be after spring break. Guys, I hope you have a wonderful spring break. Adios.